Tokyo Game Show 2025 showed off some pretty cool looking games, but for me, like nearly every other gaming showcase as of late, Capcom came out as the studio that showed games with the most excitement around them. The Capcom Online program showcase was an alright one, but the release dates of the games and the gameplay reveals of some of their titles at this event and the Tokyo Game Show event got me excited for their 2026 lineup of games. Since 2017's Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, Capcom has been on a roll. I call this era the Capcom Resurgence era. They came back strong after years of stinkers. For me, the Resurgence era has ended as they have solidified themselves as one of the best development studios / publishers in the industry, and now they are in the CapGod era. Everything they have put out is made with passion and creativity. Even titles like Exoprimal and Kunitsugami Path of the Goddess try to do something unique and fun. Whether or not they are good is up to debate, but for me Capcom has hit after hit. So after seeing their 2026 lineup of games, I realized they are literally carrying the year with their big releases. 2023 was a big year for them as they released Resident Evil 4 Remake, Street Fighter 6 and Exoprimal. I thought that was a lot, but I was mistaken. 2024 saw them release Dragon's Dogma 2, Kunitsugami Path of the Goddess and the Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, with collections of their older games. This year has been clear that Capcom have been keeping their games until next year because we only got Monster Hunter Wilds as a new release from them. As a Capcom fan, it was a bit disappointing to get only one game, but it is now clear why. In 2026, we are getting Resident Evil Requiem, Monster Hunter Stories 3 Twisted Reflections, Onimusha Way of the Sword, and Pragmata. Those are 4 huge titles. 4 big releases in a year is just madness. But it is now clear that why this year has seen a lack of game releases from them. Because they have been cooking big games. I want to go over and talk about these 4 games separately.
They're coming.
There's no escaping your destiny.
First off is Resident Evil Requiem, the 9th mainline entry in the Resident Evil series. I love these games so much. I remember playing the original RE4 on the PS2 back in the day, but didn't get hooked on the series until Resident Evil 2 Remake. After playing that wonderful remake of the PlayStation 1 classic, I went back and played most of the games and thus becoming a fan. So when they announced RE9, I was over the moon. The whole switching between first and third person gameplay was a genius idea, pleasing both fans of the remake games with the third person and newer games like 7 and 8 with the first person view. Bringing back a protagonist with a face unlike Ethan Winters and once again going back to a more horror route. This game cannot get any better. It got a February 27, 2026 release date. It was the first piece of the puzzle to map out the 2026 as the year for Capcom. Now that they have announced a new game in their tentpole series, what else could they do? Capcom could have just left it at that and called it a day, but no. They went and revealed.
But there's only room for one at the top, and it won't be a coward who runs from jewels. Words never did work between us, did they? Sasaki Ganyu.
Onimusha Way of the Sword, a new entry in the Onimusha series. This game doesn't have a release date yet, but it has a 2026 release year. I'm guessing it will come out around the June-July time. But I gotta admit, I have never played an Onimusha game before, which I'm planning to play before the release of this game, but even I got hyped after the reveal. The trailers have been looking amazing. The first reveal and the following trailers were good and hyped me up, but the actual gameplay videos I've been seeing since this year's Summer Game Fest and now Tokyo Game Show put this game up there as one of the best looking games of 2026. It looks so slick, stylish, brutal and cool. The RE engine is doing wonders with the graphics, and this game really reminds me of a mixture of between DMC5 and Ghost of Tsushima, and I mean that in the most positive way. So that is another game coming next year. Capcom recently announced a new sequel to Monster Hunter Stories series, Monster Hunter Stories 3 Twisted Reflection.
I can't believe they bring it here!
Looking back at the history of Monster Hunter Stories games, I was confident in saying that this game isn't a massive game like Resident Evil or Onimusha. But the newest gameplay reveal proved me wrong. This is yet another game that is going big budget. I have played Monster Hunter Stories 1 and currently playing 2, and I can say that these games aren't the biggest in their library of games. Stories is a turn-based RPG spin-off from the mainline Monster Hunter games, so it was always on the smaller scale side of things. But Monster Hunter Stories 3 looks to be taking things seriously this time around. The way the monsters look rightly scaled to their actual sizes rather than being scaled down, the tone being more mature compared to the first two games, the story being similar to Game of Thrones style of kingdoms fighting kingdoms like Final Fantasy 16, the combat system being deep and well thought out proves that Capcom has put a lot of effort into making this game. The recent Capcom Online program revealed that this game is releasing March 13, 2026, 2 weeks after Resident Evil 9, and it is just crazy. The first half of 2026 is shaping up to be bloated and one of the best release periods for the gaming industry in a long time. But this is a topic for another video. I am surprised how these games are releasing so close to one another. Last game I want to mention is, you probably guessed it right, Pragmata. Without a doubt, the game in this list that has been waiting for a release the longest. Pragmata was announced alongside Resident Evil Village. So go figure out how long it has been, but it is coming in 2026 and everything I have seen from it just blew me away. Like Onimusha Way of the Sword, it doesn't have a release date, just a release year, but I can see it releasing the latest from their catalog of games for next year. I would say around October-November time, but the gameplay I have seen so far has been looking polished and fun as hell. The whole hacking and shooting mechanics seem to be very innovative. You are essentially controlling two characters and doing two things at the same time. And from what I've seen, if you get into the rhythm, it feels like you are flying. Plus, this game is definitely an evolution of the Mega Man, right? It looks very similar in tone and gameplay feeling wise. I'm guessing Pragmata is to Mega Man what Exoprimal was to Dino Crisis. Different games, but still keeping that DNA of the classic games. I'm just happy that this game is finally releasing and I will be there day one. Those are the 4 games that Capcom is releasing on PC and consoles, but they are active in their mobile game side too. Monster Hunter Outlanders showed off some sick looking gameplay recently that for sure will heat up my phone like it's a goddamn oven. No release date or a year yet, but they are having a beta test in November, so I'm guessing a 2026 release is possible. I got my Monster Hunter on mobile hype with Monster Hunter Now, but that was more on the simpler side. Outlanders look to be a proper mainline style mobile Monster Hunter game and I'm dying to play it. The other one is Resident Evil Survival Unit. I'm not quite sure it will be releasing this year or next year, but it is another game that is doing something different with the strategic survival games. That's not it. Capcom is also releasing a new collection of their older games. Mega Man Star Force Legacy Collection is releasing next year with no set release date. But man, Capcom has been killing it with their collections recently. Bringing older games to modern consoles to get newer fans like me is a great way to monetize and make money from their older titles. Mega Man Star Force looks fun enough for me to pick it up as well. Lastly, updates to Street Fighter 6 and Monster Hunter Wilds will for sure release as well. Street Fighter 6 most likely will release new fighters in the Year 3 pass. I don't want to even speculate who can be in this pass, but new title updates to Monster Hunter Wilds or even an expansion like Iceborne or Sunbreak would solidify 2026 as one of the best Capcom years ever. Anyways, I wanted to make this video to talk about how good of a job Capcom is doing with their games. I know there are some controversies around the esports side, but to me, their games is more important. It was a good way to just gush about Capcom. I love this company so much and I cannot wait for 2026. So, let me know down below, which Capcom games are you most looking forward to and do you think they are carrying next year? I would love to see your answers. Once again, thanks for watching and I'll see everyone on the next video.